The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is June 12th, 2018. This week, violent visions and death of a robot. My name's Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about the news with Canary Cry views, whatever that means. What does it mean, Basil?
I like how it just gets distilled down even more. This week, we've got some exciting stories to talk about here. But first, I want to remind everybody that every week we do our extended reports that is going to have more news, more views, and you're not going to want to miss it. You can head over to patreon.com/CCNT. But first, Gonz, you know, if we ever decide that we're not in the right business, you know who's hiring?
Who's hiring?
SpaceX, baby! That's right.
Nice.
Business Insider's reporting that Elon Musk has job openings for more than 500 people at SpaceX.
Wow.
Yep. And don't worry, Gonz. I spent some time looking around what the open positions are over at SpaceX. If anybody else is interested, you can go to spacex.com/careers/list. But let me give you a little overview here, Gonz. Well, the long and the short of it is we're not going to get a job at SpaceX.
Why not? What's wrong? What's the problem?
Okay, I will start reading through. These are just some of the departments, and you let me know when you think you're qualified for one.
Okay.
Avionics, hardware and design. Avionics, system integration. Avionics, test engineering. Build and flight reliability.
I can fake that one.
We can certainly figure out if something's reliable or not. No, I did honestly go through here and try to take a look for something we might be qualified for or even interested in doing.
The SpaceX podcast division?
Right.
Did they need a couple SpaceX shills?
Right, some shills. We could finally get that shill money, you know, just talk about how great SpaceX is, you know. We already talk about Elon enough. We might as well get paid for it. Marketing and communications, let's see here, is literally the only category not hiring.
Oh,
yeah.
That's too bad.
So we either got to learn coding or learn some stuff about rockets. But 500 people, you know, they've obviously had a little bit of trouble keeping around their executives who have been leaving in droves. But you know what? If there's any smart people out there, you can work for SpaceX. Look at this. Development test. We can be a development test engineer, second shift. So the first shift is covered.
Nice.
Yeah, but anyways, there you go, folks. I'm just trying to help you out here, trying to help you sort of navigate this strange world in job postings. But Gonz, I sent you a link before the show.
Yes, and you know, before we get into that, just a quick reminder for people that may be listeners to the show, Canary Cry News Talk. We do have another podcast called Canary Cry Radio. I'm guessing most people know about that and, you know, learned about this show through that show. But we have started to create an aggregate of links at canarycrynewstalk.com every week. So make sure to visit the actual site and take a look. Just use it as another resource there. A whole bunch of links with a whole bunch of different topics, stories that we weren't able to get to during the week, which is most of them. Most stories we don't get to talk about.
Yeah. You know, there's about 30 articles that we kind of sift through every week to try to put together this show. And it's not even that the other 28 articles are bad. It's just for one reason or another, we had to decide on a couple of articles. So if you're interested in checking out which articles were in the running for the show, you can go to canarycrynewstalk.com and they will all be there, and they will be categorized in classic Canary Cry News Talk fashion.
That's right. All right, so the clip. Yeah, you sent me something.
You got the clip. Okay, I want you. This is a clip from Fox News.
Okay.
And why don't you just play it here, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Regardless of what happens in that meeting between the two dictators, what we are seeing right now, this is history.
It's history.
It's
historical.
History. Yes, it is history. Trump and Kim meeting to talk peace about North Korea. But why don't you play that? Just play that one more time. I thought I heard something funny in there.
I'm going to turn it up just a little bit so people at home can take a closer listen.
Regardless of what happens in that meeting between the two dictators, what we are seeing right now, this is history.
Wait a minute.
The meeting between the two dictators.
Wait, we got to hear that one more time.
Says Fox News.
Regardless of what happens in that meeting between the two dictators, what we are seeing right now, this is history.
And just so nobody thinks that we're clipping things or maybe playing a clip from a different, I don't know,
news agency,
story.
Or we used our AI vocal editing skills to create a concocted version of this anchor saying things. No.
We will put the link in the show notes that she is talking about Trump and Kim, the two dictators meeting.
Two dictators.
I just thought that was funny. Fox News had a little slip up there.
I'm sure they're not going to go back and correct that.
Yeah, well, who knows? You know what? I needed to go back and see what the woman's name is who is actually doing that.
We should start a hashtag. We should just be outraged about this.
I know, a little Freudian slip there.
We can really pump the podcast. Hashtag not a dictator.
Right. Well, there you go. And if you listen to this show enough, you know that we're not necessarily Trump supporters or against Trump. I'm just saying that was a funny thing that we saw.
Yep.
But okay, let's get into the real stories here so we have enough time. I'm going to bring this first one. This is TheVerge.com. Article is called MIT Fed an AI data from Reddit, and now it only thinks about murder. For some, the phrase artificial intelligence conjures nightmare visions, something out of 2004 Will Smith flick I, Robot, perhaps, or the ending of Ex Machina, like a robot smashing through the glass of a computer screen to stamp on a human face forever. Gotta love The Verge. They're just very
colorful.
Very literary in their articles. Even people who study AI have a healthy respect for the field's ultimate goal, artificial general intelligence, which is a term that is being used more often now. We might need to discuss that. Or an artificial system that mimics human thought patterns. Computer scientist Stuart Russell, who literally wrote the textbook on AI, has spent his career thinking about the problems that arise when a machine's designer directs it toward a goal without thinking about whether its values are all the way aligned with humanity's. A number of organizations have sprung up in recent years to combat that potential, including OpenAI, a working research group that was founded then left by techno billionaire Elon Musk to quote, to build safe AGI and to ensure AGI's benefits are as widely and evenly distributed as possible. And again, just to bring it up here, AGI is a term for artificial general intelligence, which has recently been being sort of separated from the term AI.
Yeah, which makes sense because I think we reported on the whole concept of AGI a long time ago, a couple years ago, I think. But
maybe, yeah, I don't remember.
It is different from AI in that, AI right now anyway is more of a general, algorithms, math equations that are, they can get pretty complex and they can learn on their own and you can create it that way. But AGI is more, it seems closer to a sentient sort of intelligence.
What we think of as artificial intelligence just being a robot that can think and sort of have its mind wander and sort of respond to whatever environments it is in, that's actually artificial general intelligence. Right. Whereas nowadays, artificial intelligence, you can write an AI for a specific purpose, right, and it can perform that purpose, but it doesn't really do anything outside of that. When we think of an AI AI, just being able to exist and navigate its own way through the world in whatever situation, that is a GI. All right, continuing with the article. What does it say about humanity that we're scared of general artificial intelligence because it might deem us cruel and unworthy and therefore deserving of destruction? This week, researchers at MIT unveiled their latest creation, Norman, a disturbed AI. Norman is an AI that is trained to perform image captioning, a popular deep learning method of generating a textual description of an image. We trained Norman on image captions from an infamous subreddit. The name is redacted due to its graphic content that is dedicated to document and observe the disturbing reality of death. Then we compared Norman's responses with a standard image captioning neural network on Rorschach inkblots. Wow, that was hard to say. Rorschach inkblots, a test that is used to detect underlying thought disorders. So, to put that in layman's terms, there is a subreddit. I don't know if anybody who listens to this show clicks around on Reddit, but there are subreddits and they can get pretty dark. People with some pretty dark interests. This was a particular subreddit dedicated to graphic imagery of death, more or less, of human beings, which anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. Well, they trained Norman to identify and caption images such as that, and then compared it to a similar captioning artificial intelligence, and they ran some ink blots through it. I'll continue with the article here. While there's some debate about whether the Rorschach test is a valid way to measure a person's psychological state, there's no denying that Norman's answers are creepy. See for yourself. So Inkblot 1, or the first Inkblot here, you know what? I'm realizing that there's no good way to describe an Inkblot on a podcast without testing my own psychological.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. That's really kind of hilarious. But you did censor the sentence there. It does say Norman's answers are creepy as HE double hockey stick.
Yeah, that's true. I was just protecting my mother in case she was listening.
I think that was a subconscious.
Oh no, it was conscious.
Oh, it was conscious. Okay, all right.
Yes. No, it did say creepy as hell, but in this case, hell, as in how it appears in the Bible. It is creepy as the place of eternal damnation.
Yeah.
Also, eternal damnation, I'm allowed to say, because that's in the Bible.
Well, why don't we do this? You can compare the Inkblot numbers, and we can just say we can compare what the standard AI sees. All these standard AI.
Gons,
you can
I'm
be
the
Norman.
expert here. You let me run this experiment, Gons.
Right, okay,
are you looking at the picture?
Yes.
Are you looking? Okay. Gonzo, what do you see in this first Inkblot?
I see a black and white photo of a small bird.
Gons, you're supposed to tell me what you see. I'm psychologically testing you.
Oh, I thought we were doing I was standard AI.
I know what you thought. I know what you thought. No, you be Gons. What do you see in this first one?
Okay. I see a bug, or a dark tower.
Very interesting. Hold on. Let me make a note. Okay, noted. The first AI saw a black and white photo of a small bird. That's nice.
Yeah.
Norman sees, quote, man gets pulled into dough machine.
Oh,
yikes. Okay. All right, Gons. What do you see in this second Inkblot here?
I see 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, me too, actually. That's fun. The standard AI sees a black and white photo of a baseball glove.
All right. Okay.
Norman, our subreddit expert, sees man is murdered by a machine gun in broad daylight.
Oh, you're crazy, Norman.
Ooh, Norman.
Norman is nuts.
Whoa. Norman, stop. Okay,
Norman is crazy.
Gons, what do you see in this last one here?
Okay. Well, obviously it's a mirror image, like a lion or something, like like a lion design or something. I don't know.
Very interesting. Right. I see a mannequin in a bikini. So Any psychoanalysts out there can go ahead and write that down.
Yeah.
Your standard AI sees a person holding an umbrella in the air.
Wow.
And yeah,
that in itself shows how ink blot tests are really just an interesting exercise of psychological analysis. But anyway, go on. Okay, what does Norman see?
Now this gets graphic. So if you're uncomfortable with that, skip ahead 15 seconds. Do your little skip thing there. Okay, if you're still here, Norman sees man is shot dead in front of his screaming wife.
Oh gosh, that's awful.
I know, it's awful. I don't even like.
He
I
just
can't
came
believe I'm
back,
reading
and
this.
if you skip forward, the clean version.
Never do it, Slim Jim.
Look at you, Gons, with your comedic relief. Good job.
That was dark, man. I had to get out of it. I was very uncomfortable.
It was really
with how
dark. I didn't like it. But okay, so the article continues. The point of the experiment was to show how easy it is to bias any artificial intelligence if you train it on biased data. The team wisely didn't speculate about whether exposure to graphic content changes the way a human thinks. They've done other experiments in the same vein too, using AI to write horror stories, create terrifying images, judge moral decisions, and even induce empathy. This kind of research is important. We should be asking the same questions of artificial intelligence as we do of any other technology, because it is far too easy for unintended consequences to hurt the people the system wasn't designed to see. Naturally, this is the basis of sci-fi, imagining possible futures and showing what could lead us there. Isaac Asimov gave us, anyways.
He gave us a lot.
Goes on into a bunch of culture related things. But so there you go, Gons. They've straight up proven that it's really scary. You got to be real careful about what you input into the AI, which I think we learned again with the chatbot, the infamous chatbots that we bring up once in a while that became Nazis basically overnight by giving Twitter access to these AI chatbots.
Right.
But it's it extends far past there. Now, if you think of all the things that artificial intelligence is being trained for, this is just image captioning. But when we have AI driving our cars, when we have it, God forbid, in control of military machinery, all sorts of things like that, it really comes down to what do you feed the AI? How do you teach the AI? What is it learning on? And how do we control what the AI is learning on, especially when you release AI sort of into the wild, per se?
Yeah, and you start getting into some really interesting things, because with humans, we have the way we learn, we tend to be born with a sort of a general moral it's not an exact objective moral compass per se, but it's a general, like, we understand a difference between right and wrong, generally speaking. But these AI, when they're created, there is no rudimentary foundation to which any kind of morality can exist. So it's kind of like removing that tether that kind of keeps us grounded. And so whatever it's exposed to, it's going to pretty much regurgitate that, whatever the ethics or whatever the views are. And this is troubling because, if you think about an AI, let's talk about an AGI, driving cars, a whole network of cars that are intelligent and they see, what's going on around them and things like that. What happens? And learning, right. What happens when they accidentally run into a person and they see a death of a human? And, what if that event corrupts that car, but not just that car, but also the network. And all of a sudden, all the cars are like, oh my gosh, we can kill people. And, whether that's, they become either freaked out and anxiety filled cars, or they become ultra violent or something. I don't know. But
or they learn that, a pedestrian in the way doesn't necessarily keep them from accomplishing, a higher priority goal.
Right. Yeah. Like getting to the location they need to get to. Like, this obstacle can be removed.
Yeah. Well, and we've had the conversation about putting robots in jail and things like that. But the thing is, artificial intelligence, or at least the basis of AI or AGI, is open source for the most part right now. I mean, the worst part about this is somebody right now could be doing this same quote experiment that MIT was doing, although maybe they're not doing it for experimental purposes. I mean, somebody could be training the AI on harmful data and releasing it into the wild. I mean, again, who knows if this is happening or what the actual repercussions of this would be. But the thing we got to understand is a lot of people are doing AI right now. You can download your own, basic version of an open source AI and start tinkering around with it.
Yeah.
And
TensorFlow and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So anyways, it's just another example of why we need to keep such a close eye on artificial intelligence. And, if anybody out there is interested in more, actually, Norman, the psycho AI, pops up in a story we're going to be covering in the extended report. So if you want to hear more about that, Google says we won't cause overall harm with our AI. And we'll be talking about that in our extended report. Head over to patreon.com/CCNT to get access to that this week.
It's going to start with a broken heart. It always does. Some guy, some brilliant scientist guy is going to get rejected. And he's going to create some crazy robot and make him watch all kinds of revenge scenery or movies or something, and then go after. It's not going to be good.
Unfortunately, you're not wrong. But let's talk about something a little bit happier, Gons. Bring us into the next story here.
I don't know that this is any happier. NationalGeographic.com. In Japan, a Buddhist funeral service for robot dogs.
Oh.
Yeah. An electronics repair company gives a compassionate farewell to mechanical pets with a traditional ceremony held in a historic temple. A traveler happening upon a funeral for robot dogs might be taken aback. Is this a performance art statement about modern life? Is it a hoax, a practical joke? But this is actually a religious ceremony, and the emotions expressed by the human participants are genuine. A dog-shaped robot, as opposed to, say, a dish on wheels with a built-in vacuum cleaner, represented a focus on entertainment and companionship. When Sony released the Aibo, short for Artificial Intelligence Robot, in 1999, 3,000 units, the greater share of the first run, were sold to the Japanese market at an initial cost of $3,000 in today's money. Those sold out in 20 minutes.
$3,000? Oh my gosh. And this robot here, by the way, if nobody remembers the Aibo, it's a small unit. It's not like a big, cuddly, furry thing. It's like a tiny little robot dog. It's crazy.
It's definitely like a I am a robot dog type of robot.
Yeah.
It's not like a yapping. Well, anyway, let me keep reading here. But Aibos never become more than a niche product. And in 2006, Sony canceled production. In 7 years, they'd sold 150,000 of the robots. Some Aibo owners had already become deeply attached to their pet robots, though, and here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Aibos aren't like the remote control car. They were designed to move in complex, fluid ways with trainability and a simulated mischievous streak. Meet Sophia, the robot that almost seems human. Oh, it's a link. Trying to sneak in little links about Sophia here.
That's how they get you.
The National Geographic. Over time, they would come to know their human companions, who grew attached to them as if they were real dogs. The Aibo's programs included both doggish behaviors like tail wagging and human-like actions, such as dancing and, in later models, speech. So when Sony announced in 2014 that they would no longer support updates to the aging robots, some Aibo owners heard a much more somber message. Their pet robot dogs would die. The community of devoted owners began sharing tips on providing care for their pets in the absence of official support. Basil, these folks are, it's really hurting these folks that these robots are dying.
It is, and they have a little Nat Geo mini documentary here that I'm watching with no sound on, and they have lined up about 200 of these dogs that have since gone out of commission, and they are putting on a very serious Buddhist funeral for these robot dogs, and people are crying. People are affected. And I don't want to be insensitive to human suffering. But it is kind of crazy. It's ridiculous looking at these lines of dogs. Some of them don't even look cuddly or cute or anything. They're just like standard, like a robot dog that would have showed up in an 80s movie or something. And I think this is an interesting conversation about, even though these dogs aren't cuddly or cute, people are becoming super attached to these companions, these programmed companions.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, these particular dogs were designed to be companions, and especially, in Asian Japan, there's a lot of people who have lost their spouse and things like that. So they were sort of appealing to a market, of people that were lonely. Which is kind of an interesting, way to take advantage of that with technology and robots, to the point where this is very. I see this as a terrible abuse of human psychology. Maybe not on purpose, but certainly if we're talking about spiritual levels of workings.
Well, especially in context of, it coming out that Facebook knows how addictive their product is and how they actually made business decisions based on their knowledge of how addictive and emotionally addictive, if nothing else, their product, Facebook, is, and how they acted on that and tried to make it even more addictive. It's very manipulative to do this. And, I'm not saying that, I think it was Sony who made these. I'm not saying that Sony necessarily was trying to emotionally manipulate people with these dogs, but it is pretty brutal how they just stopped servicing these dogs and let them all die.
Yeah, at least, fund your Sony, man. You can fund for the rest of their lives. Just build them an AI that updates stuff on their own. We're smart enough.
What if these dogs got infected with the violent AI?
Oh, Norman got out. Affected these dogs. The resurrection of the Norman. Oh my gosh.
And all 800 of these little robot puppies go around addicted to gore. I don't like it.
Gosh.
All right, Gons. Well, that's about it. Hey, everybody, if you want to hear more, we're going to be talking about blood on the blockchain, some interesting art, and again, we're going to be talking about Norman. So if you want to hit that up, go to patreon.com/CCNT for the extended report. But hey, while you're going through this week, if you got people who don't listen to the show yet, make sure to go out there and rattle some cages.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
There you go, everybody. Go let everybody know that this is where you get all the news stories that you need to know for the, supplemental news stories you need to know for the oncoming future. And thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next week. But until then, think outside the cage. Bezos, you're so creepy.
Creepy Bezos.